welcome to our YouTube channel GurMantra Shiksha Ka Granth. I am your educator Nidhi Dua and I teach you chemistry at this platform named GurMantra. So basically this is our chemistry syllabus for GATE exam. We have started our section 1 named atomic structure and periodicity. We have completed atomic structure in the previous lecture. And in this particular lecture, we are going to study about periodic table. In periodicity, we have completed most of the topics. Now we are going to study about electronegativity and electron affinity. Syllabus that we have covered till now are these topics. Here I would suggest, if you have not read about all these topics, please go first and read about all the topics. Next, we have our periodic trends. We have completed Z effective, atomic radius, ionization enthalpy, and in this particular lecture we are going to study about electron affinity and electronegativity. So without any further delay, let's get started about electron affinity. So basically electron affinity is the amount of energy to gain any electron in a particular outermost shell. Or you can say the amount of energy released when an electron is added into the outermost shell of a gaseous isolated atom. And this energy is known as electron affinity. The tendency of an atom, the tendency of a molecule to accept an electron in its outermost shell is known as electron affinity. Now, more attraction to an electron means more electron affinity. Next important point is your note, that is generally addition of first electron in a neutral atom is an exothermic process. This is clearly mentioned that it is general way. If the electron is being added in a neutral atom, it could be exothermic. But except in cases of stable gas configuration where addition of an first electron in a neutral atom could be exothermic process or could be endothermic process, and the exception is stable gas configuration. Next is the factor that affects electron affinity. Number one factor is your Z effective. As you know, we have read about the Z effective factor. This particular periodic trends is related to all other periodic trends. This Z effective factor plays an important role to understand all the periodic trends. So basically, if you increases the value of Z effective, attraction between bonded pairs, bonded electron also increases and electron affinity increases. Second point is for size. Electron affinity and size has an inverse relationship. Means if you increases the size, electron affinity will decreases or vice versa. Electronic configuration, this point is very important. Stable half-filled and completely filled electronic configuration has minimum electron affinity. Stable half-filled configuration and completely filled configuration has minimum electron affinity because you know it very well. These are the stable conditions. The half-filled condition and full-filled condition configuration will not accept any electron in their particular subshell. That's why they have minimum electron affinity. While in case of ionization enthalpy, the stable half-filled and completely filled configuration has higher ionization enthalpy while has minimum electron affinity. Next is for charge. Electron affinity is directly proportional to positive charge while inversely proportional to negative charge. Means if you increases the positive charge, electron affinity will increases, while if you increases the negative charge, electron affinity will decreases. And this particular formula, this particular point is only applicable for isoelectronic species. You know it very well. Isoelectronic species are those atom which has the same number of electron present in a particular atom. Next is variation in periodic table. So basically, if we talk about variation in periodic table, we basically generally study about in a particular period or a particular group. So basically in Number 1 point, as you move from top to bottom, as you move along the group, as the size increases, electron affinity decreases. But for some cases you have to remember this, as you move from top to bottom, you have to see the factor, that is Z effective factor, or you have to solve the question by writing their electronic configuration. Second point is, for second period elements of group 15, 16 and 17 has least electron affinity. For the group 15, 16, 17, for particular second period elements has least electron affinity as compared to the third period element of same group. Next, as you move along the period, as you move from left to right, the value of Z effective increases, electron affinity will also increases, because you know Z effective value is directly proportional to electron affinity. Now this point is very important, this star mark point is very important. This point tells about the order of electron affinity between different subshells. As you can see, NS1 subshell has higher or greater electron affinity than NP1 subshell, while NP2 subshell has greater electron affinity than NP3 subshell. As you can see, NP3 subshell is a stable half-filled condition, that's why it has minimum or it has less electron affinity than compared to NP2 subshell, because NP2 has 2 electron in its outermost shell. When it accepts a electron, it accepts a single electron, it will get a half-filled condition, and this will make it stable. Next, this slide is very important because this slide has these three are the most important PYQs. These 3 points have been asked a number of times in many competitive exam and also in GATE exam. So this is very important. Here I would suggest please note down them in a particular notebook and revise them on the daily basis, because you know it very well. In inorganic chemistry you have to remember all the points, because inorganic chemistry totally depends on your memory. So in this slide, as you can see, we have given the order of electron affinity for particular 3 series. Number 1 is for nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, Sb and bismuth. So the order for this particular series comes out to be like this. Phosphorus has the maximum electron affinity and nitrogen has the minimum electron affinity in this particular series. Next is for oxygen, sulfur and the particular group of oxygen family. So basically the order comes out to be this. Sulfur has the higher electron affinity than oxygen, or we can say oxygen has the minimum electron affinity in this particular series. Next, in case of halogens, chlorine has the maximum electron affinity, while in a particular halogen group, iodine has a minimum electron affinity. Next is, in a particular period, electron affinity is maximum for halogens, while electron affinity is less for noble gases. More electron affinity is for halogens because, as you know, halogen needs a single electron in their outermost shell to get the full-filled condition, full-filled configuration, while noble gases has the full-filled condition already, and full-filled condition electron affinity do not depends on the full-filled condition, means electron affinity is minimum for the full-filled or half-filled condition or configuration. Next is, in a periodic table, more electron affinity is for chlorine while less electron affinity is for neon. These 2 points are really very important. Next is relationship between Ea and Ie. Relationship between electron affinity and ionization energy. Electron affinity of X here X represents a particular element, particular molecule, means electron affinity of a element X in its gaseous state is equals to the ionization enthalpy of X minus of its consecutive anion. So basically the relation is electron affinity of element X is equals to ionization enthalpy of X minus compound or element. Now here comes a question. You have to tell the order of electron affinity. You have given a particular series. So basically to solve this question, you have to, first of all, you should know about the periodic table. You should know about the correct position of the elements in a particular periodic table. So first of all, we have arranged these elements in a particular order according to periodic table, according to their place in periodic table. So according to periodic table, as you can see, nitrogen came first, then oxygen, and down to nitrogen phosphorus came, and down to oxygen sulfur came. Now in next step, you have to write the electronic configuration, and on the basis of electronic configuration you have to put the symbol between two elements. Like for example, when you move along the period from nitrogen to oxygen, the value of Z effective will increases. That's why electron affinity for oxygen also increases. That's why we have put this greater sign in front of oxygen. Now same applied to phosphorus and between sulfur. Sulfur has the higher electron affinity. Now as you move along the group, you have to see the value of Z effective. So as you know, the value of Z effective will decreases. As you move along the group, you have to see the electronic configuration. When you write the electronic configuration for nitrogen and phosphorus, you will see that phosphorus has the higher electron affinity, and same applied to sulfur. And when you compare these particular symbols, you will get the solution as this. You will get the order as this. As you can see, sulfur has the electron affinity greater than oxygen and greater than phosphorus too. That's why sulfur came first. Next, as you can see, for nitrogen, the affinity is lesser than oxygen, and the affinity for nitrogen is also lesser than phosphorus. That's why nitrogen came least. Now second order is for oxygen, fluorine, sulfur and chlorine. To solve this order, you should repeat the previous orders or previous rules. First of all, you have to arrange these elements according to periodic table, according to their place in periodic table. Next, you have to write the electronic configuration. Then you have to put the symbols. When you compare the symbols, you will get chlorine as the maximum electron affinity, while oxygen has the least electron affinity in this particular series. Next topic is electronegativity. So basically, electronegativity is the ability of an atom to attract shared electron in a particular covalent bond. As you know, covalent bonds are formed by sharing the electron pairs. So basically, electronegativity is seen in the covalent compounds. The relative tendency of an atom to attract shared pair of electron towards itself, it's called electronegativity. And this point number 3 is very important, as the higher the value of electronegativity, the more strongly the element attracts the shared pair of electron. Means the higher value of electronegativity means the element is strongly connected or attracted to the shared electron. The compound will form the higher electronegativity element. Next point is note, fluorine is the most electronegative element while francium is the least electronegative element. This point is very important because this question has been asked, this point has been asked a number of times in various competitive exams. That is, which element is the most electronegative element in the complete periodic table? So the answer is fluorine is the most electronegative element while francium is the least electronegative element. Fluorine is a halogen while francium is a radioactive element. The question could be asked in another way, like which electronegative which radioactive element is the least electronegative element. So you should know that francium is a least electronegative element and also it is a radioactive element. Second note is electronegativity does not depend on the stable configuration. Electronegativity do not depends upon the stable configuration because this is the tendency of an atom in a particular molecule to attract the bonded electron, and electronegativity is only seen in we can say is seen in covalent compounds. Next is the factors that affect electronegativity. So basically number one factor is your Z effective, because you know Z effective plays an important role in understanding the other periodic trends. So basically as the value of Z effective increases, the value of electronegativity will also increases. Second factor is your size. Electronegativity is inversely proportional to size. As the value of size increases, electronegativity will decreases. Third point is electronegativity is directly proportional to positive charge while inversely proportional to negative charge. So basically if you increases this positive charge, the value of electronegativity will increases. If you increases the negative charge, the value of electronegativity will decreases. Fourth point is also very important because it tells about the hybridization state. So basically you will understand about the hybridization state in the next sections. So electronegativity is directly proportional to hybridization state. As hybridization is the idea that atomic orbitals fuse to form newly hybridized orbitals. Hybridization is also an expansion of the valence bond theory. These are the some points about hybridization you will get to know about in the next upcoming lectures. So basically electronegativity is directly proportional to S character. So as you know, there are different type of hybridization states like sp, sp2 or sp3. Let's take an example to understand the S character meaning. If you take the example of sp hybridization state, means hybridization state for sp is maximum because it contains the maximum S character, that is 50% of S character and 50% of P character. Hybridization state sp is formed of 50% S character and 50% of P orbitals. Now when you talk about sp2 condition, this condition has the less S character as compared to P character, and when you compare both of these hybridization state, you will get to know about that sp hybridization has the maximum S character while sp2 has the least S character while compared along with sp and sp2. Next point is point number 5th, that is also very important, electronic configuration. That tells about electronegativity does not depends on the stable configuration. You have seen this point earlier in the previous slide. Next is variation in periodic table. So basically when you move along the period, as the value of Z effective increases, electronegativity will also increases. While in a group, as you move from top to bottom, as the size increases, electronegativity will decreases. Next, on moving down the group in D block element, mostly properties depends on the Z effective. So in case of D block element, in case of transition element, while moving from top to bottom, you will see the Z effective factor, and this is the example as you can see here. Next is the application of electronegativity. So basically electronegativity is directly proportional to non-metallic character and inversely proportional to metallic character. Means if you increases the value of electronegativity, non-metallic character will increases while metallic character will decreases. Now point number 2 and 3 is very important. Point number 2 and 3 is very important for all the competitive exam because point number 2 and 3 tells you about the bond energy and bond length. So basically bond energy is directly proportional to the difference of electronegativity of a particular atom, and bond length is inversely proportional to the difference of electron negativity, which means if the difference of electron negativity comes out to be higher, the bond length of a particular atom will be lower or will be least. This is the symbol of delta, which tells about the difference. Okay, so I hope you all are now cleared about all the periodic trends. We have seen 5 periodic trends. Number 1 was Z effective, number 2 was atomic radius, number 3 was ionization enthalpy, number 4 was electron affinity, and number 5th is electron affinity. In the upcoming lecture, in the next lecture, we will see different type of questions on all the periodic trends, because this is the very important topic. So for now, this is up. Now in case you all are new here, if you are new here, please do like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is GurMantra Shiksha Ka Granth. You can also join our Telegram channel named GurMantra. You can also visit our website, that is www.gurmantra.in, and for further queries you can mail us on, and you can contact us on the given number. Thank you very much guys. I hope you liked the video.